hopeless. And I will stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. For those who impose their will on others. I will impose mine. Hope for the hopeless.
Welcome to this new format of PromoCentre. I have Jason here along with Brad as well as Ryan, and we, all three of us, will be running down the two WrestleCentre events on June 5th in Halifax at the Halifax Forum, as well as June 6th in Kentville, Nova Scotia for the very first time ever for WrestleCentre at the Kentville Centennial Arena. Thanks for joining me here, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Right off the bat, in the IHWC title matchup on June 5th in Halifax, Steve Arsenault will be going up against his protege Nick Diggs. Now, we've seen everything that's been going on with regards to Steve with his personal life, struggling to have that healthy balance between his personal and his professional life. What do you think Steve's chances are, Ryan, of coming out of this match, capturing his very first championship gold in WrestleCentre?
You know, he's got a lot on his plate right now, and that could work to his advantage and against his advantage. So it's a two-way street. I mean, he's got all that built-up aggression and anger from what's going on, and he could just go to town on Nick and just take it out on him. On the other hand, he could overthink it too much and let it get to him, and then make a mistake, and that's where Nick capitalizes. So, you know, it's a big burden to carry, and it's especially a big burden to carry into a match like this. You know, just won the title, Nick did, and you know, his first title defense, and now he wants to prove to everyone that he's worthy of this title. So,
well, there's that old thing that goes like with the people who train the younger guys. Yeah, they taught them all they know. He didn't teach them all that Steve knows. And yeah, maybe with a lot of personal stuff on his plate and everything. But granted, everybody has a lot of personal stuff, and Steve has been that guy who I don't feel that will affect his performance in the ring. I don't think he's going to be bringing that. I think, you know, granted, yes, it has been more open in backstage. We have noticed that. But once he gets to that ring and that bell goes off, he's good to go. So I think maybe he's even coming in with a little chip on his shoulder that way against his former protege and thinking, all right, kid, you think you know it all? You don't know all that I know, and I'm about to give you one last lesson.
yeah, but I mean, it could take anything from a sign in the crowd to a fan yelling something. He could be in that mindset, and as soon as he hears that or sees that, it just triggers something in his brain, and he's on a downward spiral. So I don't know, man. Could it be too much for him? So he's got the weight of his personal life, and like you said, the weight of his striving to be champion. All that coming together, and boom. Just, it's bad to say, but I predict a crumble.
We have caught up with Steve for some words with regards to this match. Let's go to Steve right now.
All right.
Everything that's been going on in my life lately, been told by pretty much everyone. Maybe I should just pause all this. Maybe I should take a step back. Maybe I should reevaluate what's important to me. Maybe I'm not ready for this anymore. See, the fact is, I've always been ready for this. The fact is, this has always been my focus. Now I got my buddy, my pal, my protege, Nick Diggs, one-on-one in the ring June 5th for the IHWC Championship. And you know what? I keep hearing it, I hear it from everyone. I'm distracted. But the fact is, Nick, I'm more focused on this than anything else in my life. And on June 5th, if you think any type of friendship, any type of history that we might have might prevent me from doing the one thing that I'm good at, the one thing that I've been built for. And Nick, you might be the focus, but on June 5th, the focus is going to be where it always is, on me.
See, what you guys gotta understand is, like, this is real for Steve. Like, this is not part of a storyline. This is not a work. This is his real life. Like, his wife and kids, they're gone. Like, we didn't just write this down and say, oh yeah, go with this. Like, this is his real life that he has to deal with every day. Getting up, not being able to see his kids, hug his kids. That would tear any man apart. And, like, with Nick, like, that guy is emotionally tough. Like, we've seen what happened with the top rope incident. And, like, most guys would just be too embarrassed to even show their face. And he came back and won the title off of Marcus Burke. Like, that takes guts, and that takes, like, there's going to be a fight. I wouldn't underestimate
He's definitely emotionally tough and as well as physically tough. I mean, he suffered a few concussions on his way, and he's still out there. He's still at the front line. He's still competing at a top level, a level he's never performed at ever before in his career. He's on the rise.
Yeah, I just see him skyrocketing. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, keep your eye on Nick Diggs.
Also, J.P. Sims making his official return.
J.P. Sims, yeah. Oh.
Making his official return to WrestleCentre on June 5th at the Halifax Forum. He's being advertised to come out with an open mic. He's going to speak out about what he did on the last show on April 9th, making his return, spoiling, in some people's opinion, that main event. Brian, what's your thoughts on JP's return?
I don't think he should have come back. He walked out on you. He walked out on everybody. You know? He came into this promotion, you know, was given it the championship, and, you know, he went out every month and defended that championship. But, I mean, and then just to leave it all, just be like, no, screw it, I'm going to go somewhere else, try it. This place is, you know, going to crumble and fall.
Well, granted, he came into WrestleCentre as champion. But at one point, he did win that championship, and he held on to that for, was it, like, 3+ years?
Total credit to, you know, the matches.
And I mean, when it comes to, like, those high-pressure situations, those main event matches, he's always delivered ever since the first show against AJ Styles and all the way through. Granted, walking out, not the best way to handle it, but when you're a guy who's used to the main events and, you know, say it was handed to him, he had to have that skill, that talent. They had to see something in him that he brings to the table to say, hey, this is a spot that you deserve.
I mean, let's talk about the walkout here briefly. I mean, he walked out essentially because he lost the IFWA Heavyweight Championship to Christopher Daniels. Mm-hmm. So he held that championship for 3 years. It came time for him to drop that title to Christopher Daniels, and then he leaves the company.
Yeah, like where we are now, right?
Well, is that why he came back?
Well, yeah, I do like JP. I've had plenty of conversations with the guy. Real nice stand-up guy, but that was probably a bit too much because in his absence, no signs of crumbling. Everything has been, you know, we're all just spokes in the wheel. That's it. The wheel's going to keep on turning. He left, but now he saw that, okay, that wasn't the case. They're still flourishing without me. And, you know, this was a lot of the young guys who felt that they should have their chance at that top spot. They felt that in that time, they've been putting on some great matches. There have been some very amazing performances from all the WrestleCentre talent. But now JP, you know, as he thought it was going to crumble and it didn't, now he's thinking, okay, well, I guess I want to...
Well, exactly, right. I mean, in JP Sims' absence, we just talked about it here tonight. We've seen the rise of, say, a Nick Diggs. So in JP Sims leaving the company, it's allowing other talent to come to a new level.
What about these other guys? They've put in the matches. They've taken the injuries. They deserve it more than he does.
But to Brad's point, you know, JP Sims, he's put in that position because he does have talent. You know, he does have draw power. He does have some kind of star power to him. Brad, did he return expecting to become IFWA Heavyweight Champion again?
Well, I think that's the statement that he made. You know, he was standing there. He was holding up the IFWA Championship, and that wasn't just because that happened to be there. You know, he was sending a message. And granted, knocking out Samoa Joe, JP Sims is not going to get a Christmas card from me this year, but I think that going forward, that we're not going to, you know, if anything, we're going to see more of an edge and more of a fire lit under JP Sims. And I think he's going to be in that spot that he deserves.
I think it was a mistake hitting Samoa Joe because you've seen what Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels have been going through with each other for the last some odd years, you know, stalking each other and showing up to their places. Yeah. I think that, you know...
But if you want to make a statement... That's how you do it.
There's no
That's
bigger way
true.
to make a statement. Ryan, you're a performer. What do you think the return of JP Sims is going to do? What message do you think is going to send to that locker room?
You know, I think people are just going to look at JP not the same way, because, you know, he just automatically thinks he can come back and walk right back into the front. I think he's going to lose a lot of respect to the locker room, and, you know, it's not going to be treated the same way he was before he left, because, you know, if you go to your job and, you know, you've been there for 3 years and then you leave, and then you go to try another job and you come back, you know, you just can't go back into your old position again. They've got someone that's filled that position. You know, they had to replace you. And we've got so many talented wrestlers that are replacing and are on the way to replace that spot of JP's. And he thinks he can come back in and just take it back? That's not fair.
Now, Ryan said that you know, JP Sims probably is losing the respect of the locker room. Do you think JP Sims cares about that?
No. You can make friends or you can make money. If you want that top spot, by any means necessary, you're going to do what you can to get that spot.
I think if we've seen anything over there, you know, the history of professional wrestling, you know, I'll take friends over money. Yeah, I like a paycheck, but if you don't have friends and you don't have places to get booked, you're not going to make money.
Well, a lot of people say, you know, the company didn't crumble. You know, there was no effect when he walked out. But you got to think up until that point. You look at all the string of shows and the foundation that was set for WrestleCentre prior to that time when he walked out, and JP, he played a big role in setting that foundation. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but I mean, why did he leave? Like, you know, he said it was because Jason said it was because he didn't have the title anymore. You know, I think it was because, you know, backstage stuff, like, you know, guys were getting more fan reactions, like Steve Arsenault was getting more over with the fans, and JP couldn't handle that. You know, he was slowly fading out of the limelight. Fans were booing him, throwing stuff at him, making signs. They just didn't care about JP Sims anymore, and he couldn't handle it, so he left. He wanted to go to a promotion where he could be the top star. You know, people would come out to see him, and it didn't happen. Now he's come crawling back, and he thinks he can just slide back in like nothing happened. And he's missed a lot since September when he left. Like, there's so much talent and so many people that have put in the hard work. I don't think it's fair to these other guys that have done this work that JP can just come back in and just like nothing happened.
I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, back when WrestleCentre first started, JP was getting those reactions. But slowly, for one reason or another, the audience started to see more, see other performers, start saying, okay, I like this guy, I like that guy. So then the audience starts noticing that in comparison to other performers in the locker room.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. If you said, the friends versus money thing, and you said JP will take money, why didn't he stay to make the money? If he doesn't care what the fans think and he doesn't make friends, why would he leave?
Well, like I said, thought he'd find some greener pastures elsewhere. Didn't. So now he's back. He made that statement and put himself back in the top spot.
He didn't get the reaction that he wanted, so he came back, and it's like he wants a fresh start. He wants to try to start over, and it's going to be the same thing.
If the fans are going to love or hate him, he just realizes, you know what? Doesn't matter. It's all about JP Sims.
Well, lots of speculation of JP Sims' role in WrestleCentre on June 5th at the Halifax Forum. We're going to hear it from his own mouth. We're going to hear why he did what he did. Perhaps he'll even speak on why he left WrestleCentre and why he is back. June 5th at the Halifax Forum. A huge card shaping up. Mr. Suave, Marcus Burke going one-on-one with Johnny Mundo in the main event. Let's talk about the main event for the Halifax show on June 5th. Mr. Suave, Marcus Burke going against John Morrison, former WWE superstar, now going by Johnny Mundo and Lucha Underground. Brad, what are your predictions for this match?
I don't know. I mean, you see Johnny Mundo with all the experience he's had, and he's been able to perform in the highest of situations, whether it be a WrestleMania or with Lucha Underground, wherever he goes. The guy knows how to perform, and so I think he's going to be bringing some of that to Halifax on June 5th.
Yeah, but you got the vegan power. You mean, a raw aggression,
Well, right now, Johnny Mundo has had some words for Mr. Suave Marcus Burke regarding the matchup that's going to happen in Halifax on June 5th. So let's go to Johnny Mundo right now and hear his comments.
Mr. Suave, Marcus Burke, Our paths are going to cross on June 5th at the Halifax Forum in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Now, Marcus, I hear you've been bragging to everyone about your audition for Tough Enough. You don't even have to be invited to audition for Tough Enough. Anyone can audition for Tough Enough. Gilbert could audition for Tough Enough. Stephen Hawking could audition for Tough Enough. My dog could audition for Tough Enough. As a matter of fact, I think Charlie Bear has a better chance at winning Tough Enough than you do. He can jump higher than you. He's got more charisma than you. And he eats meat. Don't you, Charlie Bear? Here, have some bacon. That's right, Marcus. My dog's not a presumptuous, judgmental, self-righteous D-bag who runs around telling everyone he's better than they are because he's a vegan. Bad decision, Marcus. Mr. Suave. Speaking of bad decisions, Mr. Suave, you're going to be standing across the ring with the shaman of sexy, the Monday Night Delight, the guru of greatness. And you name yourself after a shampoo? And not even a good shampoo. You could have been Mr. Redkin, Mr. Avida, Mr. Vidal Sassoon. And trust me, I know shampoo. And Suave is a bad decision. June 5th, Mr. Suave, when you're standing across the ring from Johnny Mundo, it's going to be the last in your long lifetime of bad decisions because you are going to realize that this is my world.
So it sounds like Johnny Mundo might not be taking Mr. Suave Marcus Burke quite as seriously as maybe he should be. Also on June 5th, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Shelton Benjamin makes his WrestleCentre debut, and he will be facing someone who's familiar in this area, Mr. Energy Julian Young. Ryan, I'll start with you. What do you think about this matchup?
I think Shelton Benjamin's in for a workout. I've known Julian quite a few years, and non-stop energy, full octane aggression. He's going to put him through the ringer. He's going to give him quite the workout, as I said. So I hope Shelton's ready.
Brad, their styles could be very comparable, very similar. What do you think about this matchup between Shelton Benjamin and Mr. Energy Julian Young going into this matchup?
This is the one that I'm really excited for. I cannot wait for this because, yeah, stylistically, I think they're going to mesh well together. There is the argument to be said that, yes, Shelton does have a lot more experience, with WWE, with Japan, all that stuff. However, with experience comes age, maybe a little fatigue. We've seen, they don't call him Mr. Energy because he's a slouch in the ring. This guy can go all night long. So I think that could actually work in Julian's favor.
Of course, Shelton Benjamin, an All-American, but Ryan, as you know, Julian Young, a Greco-Roman wrestling Canadian champion.
He's very skilled. He's very, he's got the moves and he's got the energy. It's going to be quite the fight.
Absolutely. And in my opinion, I think this match has potential to steal the show.
Yeah, I agree. Up there. I'm not betting money against that.
No.
And not to be outdone, June 6th in Kentville, Nova Scotia. And speaking of Kentville, Nova Scotia, Titus will be in action in Kentville, and he will be facing Johnny Mundo or John Morrison. If John Morrison, of course, can get through Suave on June 5th at the Halifax Forum. Completely different match, Brad, for John Morrison going in against Suave, and then the following night going against Titus. Two completely different performers. What do you think about that match? Who has the advantage going into that match?
Well, as we saw Johnny Mundo talking about Mr. Suave and not seeming to take it seriously, so who's to say that, the next night in Kentville, he's going to be taking Titus seriously too.
Well, if he's not taking Titus seriously, and I'll say right now, that is a huge mistake, because Titus, Ryan, has been on an absolute rampage here in WrestleCentre.
Oh, completely, 100%. He's a man on a mission, and, I wouldn't want to be Johnny Mundo, especially, underestimating a man like Titus. Like, if he underestimates Marcus Burke the night before, I know, Marcus and Titus, I've known them for years as well, and it's just
well, that's it. You got Burke the first night. You don't take it seriously there. If you're showing up less than 100% with Titus,
yeah, no.
I don't know.
Well,
Titus is a bad man.
Yeah, we see what him and Julian Young did at the anniversary show, right?
Well, let's even take it one step further. So Titus in WrestleCentre has only seen one defeat, and that was at the hands of Bobby Roode. And not just solely at the hands of Bobby Roode. It took a steel chair as well as Wildman Gregor Williams, who was the special guest referee, to manipulate that ending. Titus has this ability that he has no remorse for his opponent. We've seen Titus break a man's neck in the middle of the squared circle with a steel chair. I have no question in thinking, Ryan, that if Titus can get John Morrison in a situation such as that, he won't hesitate. He will get the job done one way or the other, and he will end John Morrison's career.
Oh, 100%. Like, he's in for some trouble if he thinks he's, it's like I said before, we talked earlier, another local guy. Just to put on a show for the fans. No, Titus is out to prove that he is one tough SOB, and he's going to do it. And he's done it multiple times before, so what's going to stop him now?
And Titus with heel faction, again, a whole new aggression. But Titus has said on more than one occasion, all these out-of-town stars, he doesn't like them coming in because they come in the WrestleCentre, they do their thing, and then they leave. Titus is all about WrestleCentre. Of course, he has the producer Tyler in his back pocket, but Titus is all about WrestleCentre. He wants nothing more than the end. All these guys that come in, he wants to do something impactful, whether it be victory or otherwise, with regards to injury, to make WrestleCentre, the top. He wants to make it the number one company in the world.
But it's almost he wants to show these out-of-towners that are coming in, we're not to be taken lightly down here.
Oh, yeah. And he's right there.
Exactly. Like, we're going to put a beat down on you, and, we're going to show you what we got. So don't underestimate us, because, you might not come here with your big fancy promotions or whatnot, but we've got a lot to offer.
It'd be a huge mistake.
There's no other way around it. These are not going to be days off for you. This is not a trip to Halifax and Kentville, just for a leisure time or whatever. No, you got to put on those working boots, and you got to make sure that you are bringing your A game.
We actually have some comments from John Morrison with regard to this match. So let's see what John has to say with regards to his matchup with Titus.
Sup, Titus? You and me, June 6th, Kentville, Nova Scotia. Heel faction. I'm guessing by the name that you're not the nicest of dudes. You can also infer from the name that you're not the most clever or witty of dudes. You guys aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. But you, Titus, are most certainly a tool. You're a tool because you think you're better than everyone else. You've never faced anyone like me. You might be hammering your competition up and down the Maritimes, but I'm not going to stay in one spot long enough for you to line up any offense. I'm the guru of greatness, bro. Hardcore, parkour, luchador. That's a pretty electric trifecta. And on June 6th, Titus, by the time you hear the thunder, it's going to be too late because the lightning will have already struck.
Well, it sounds like Johnny Mundo did a little bit more of his homework with Titus. He's not playing games. He doesn't have his dog. He seems like he's taking it fairly serious. Brad, what do you think about the lead performer in Lucha Underground coming to WrestleCentre to face the lead performer, arguably, in WrestleCentre?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, you see with Lucha Underground, Johnny Mundo, top dog there. You come to WrestleCentre. As some people may say, maybe he's not the champion, but still, top dog in the WrestleCentre yard, Titus. So you've got these guys, opposite ends of the country, meeting up in Kentville. This is going to be Lucha Underground versus WrestleCentre. So that just makes it that much more intense. And it does seem that Johnny Mundo taking that one a bit more seriously, as he should.
Ryan, Lucha Underground versus WrestleCentre, who wins?
They both got so much talent to offer to the table. It's going to be an interesting matchup to kind of decide a winner. But personally, I guess towards the local. I'm always about local.
That big event happening on June 6th in Kentville, Nova Scotia. Johnny Mundo's very first appearance in Kentville, as well as the very first appearance of WrestleCentre in Kentville. One event not to be missed. And lots of other action that's going to be taking place in Kentville, Nova Scotia.
I'm going to be making my debut in Kentville, actually.
There you go. Breaking news here.
I'm excited about that, to show off what I got to offer the WrestleCentre fans, so pretty pumped for that.
Yo, maybe I shouldn't have argued so much.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. That's going to do it for us here for PromoCentre, and we hope you guys join us next time.
Yeah.